I just want to welcome you. I am Shell. I'm the CEO of RESA, and we are super excited today to talk about a new benefit for RESA members. So we're going to, I'm going to go silent for just a few seconds here and let some more people jump in before I dig into it, because it's really important stuff and you're going to love it. Okay, so I am super excited today. I'm going to go ahead and get started. We poll our members all the time. I know you've received surveys from us, and we really thank you for participating in those. It helps us bring stats and information and reports to the industry. But one of the things that we've noticed, and one of the things that we've wanted to do since the inception of RESA, was to bring some benefits to our members. And one of the things that we've polled people is that 67% of the people we polled in our State of the Home Staging Industry report said they were not offering health insurance to their employees, to their benefits. Now, I know just from experience, this is my 23rd year in the industry, that so many entrepreneurs, they want to be able to have group health insurance because it is much less expensive and you get so much better deals. But as an entrepreneur and self-employed, much of the time, those fees are just astronomical, and it's definitely a barrier to be able to get it. So a lot of us go without the health insurance. And even getting things through the markets, some of those are more expensive than the plans that we're going to show you today. So without further ado, I am super excited because this woman right here is my shero of the industry and my life as it stands right now in front of all of you. I have been wanting group health insurance for years. It wasn't allowed legally until a couple years ago. There was bills that were made in Congress and they just didn't pass, but now they have. And Tish is the gal. She is the go-to person. So Tish, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Shell. Thank you, Joanna and Felicia, for having me. I'm going to take over the screen real quick, if you guys don't mind, and going to talk a little bit about what we have. First off, I'm going to just introduce myself just a few minutes and kind of tell you who I am. My name is Tish Sitzow. I used to be in corporate America for about 25 years and was responsible for negotiating health insurance benefits from when I started at 7 employees and when I left at 700. So I kind of went through that whole growing business, what I was able to do, what I couldn't do. And I worked for the cheapest man in the country. I swear that's who he was. And because of that, I had to come up with ways to actually benefit design. But I want you guys to know, most importantly, I'm a patient advocate first and foremost. My heart is to make sure that you have a good product, because when you need it to work. And so I'm very careful as to who I partner with. I am a broker. I'm independent. I do have a partnership with several other members, but we can do small group, we can do large group, and then we can do what we now have for RESA. So I do want to talk through that a little bit as we get further. If you have, several employees, and we want to really kind of talk about it, especially if you have young employees. Those are things we definitely want to talk about one-on-one. So you're going to get all my contact information. I'm now a member honorary. Thank you guys so much for having me, where I'm available to help you consult. I have an HR degree, so I can also look at it from an employer-employee perspective so that we can maybe design things that, whether you can afford something, or maybe we just do something little in the meantime to help you attract employees, or if you just need to take care of yourself and your own family. We are flexible like that. I have a strong customer concierge team that I deal with every day. So it's not just me trying to keep up with everybody. I have an amazing team, but I am your first and foremost contact, because my heart is not in selling. My heart is making sure that people get timely care when they need it. I tell everyone I have an anger management issue and I take it out on insurance companies. So that's important to me to know that you have a good plan, that God forbid you really need to use it, it's going to work for you. So we have 2 different kind of ways that we look at things on our plan. First off, we have a guaranteed issue product. It's called the Vault. It is a limited benefit plan. What does that mean? It means that there's a limit to the number of days you can see a doctor per year. There's a limit to the number of hospital visits you can have per year. Again, I'm going to go into that in a little bit of detail, but it has to have a primary and secondary. So like mom and grandma, they have their Medicare and their Medicare supplement plan. So when they go in and pay for something, they show their primary card and their secondary card. So that's kind of how the vault works. That is our worst case scenario. That's for people that need guaranteed issue, that have certain health conditions that can't get qualified for the Blue Cross options. Blue Cross is obviously, the top name in the industry. That's going to be one that is like really what I want to compare as the premier plan. But no matter your health conditions, we've got a product for you. America's Choice. This is the one that is an ACA compliant major medical plan. Depending on what state you are in or where you're located, you may only have the ability to have an HMO. I'm in Texas. We can only have HMOs, meaning I have to have one doctor who just decides if I'm sick or hurt enough to go to a specialist. So I believe and I live by PPOs. We can have a Blue Cross, Blue Shield, PPO all over the country. Okay, there's like just a couple of few states we can't do anything in, but you still have network access in all 50 states. It is no limitation. It is unlimited. It has no secondary insurance requirements. And we have a lower cost version, which uses PHCS PPO, which stands for Private Healthcare Systems. And then, of course, we have the Blue Card PPO, which is Blue Cross Anthem. Your card says Blue Cross Blue Shield on it, and that's the national PPO. When I say national, it's who all the federal employees have as their PPO. Guaranteed issue. These are our limited benefit plans. The actual plan design is here on the right. It's basic. The only difference between basic and pro have to do with your deductible and your out-of-pocket max. If you'll notice that preventative care and telemedicine on both plans is at no cost to you. I live and die by telemedicine because I have a husband who will never go to the doctor unless I shove a phone in his face. So the primary care on the basic plan is $20. The pro is $10. Now, if you'll notice that on your primary care, those are unlimited. On your specialist visits, you do have limits based upon which plan you go with. Lab services, radiology, urgent care has unlimited, and those are $40 copays. And then, of course, you have emergency room care, hospitalization, all those things. Now, because these are guaranteed issue, the carrier that writes this plan, it's through Nationwide, but it's called the Vault. The carrier that writes this plan is like, wait a second, I don't know all the people that you're putting on here. There's no way to get a census, so I'm not willing to take on that whole risk. So that's why we pair the plan with Manhattan Life. Manhattan Life is a carrier that's been in the business since the 1800s, and they are actually the supplemental coverage. So they come in and they kind of fill in the gap. So you know what gap coverage is. When you buy a car, you get gap that covers the difference. So this kind of works the same way. You have a gap plan that comes in and fills in some of the gaps where you have limitations. Both are guaranteed issue. What they're doing is they're splitting the risk from a carrier perspective, which allows that guaranteed issue option. Again, this is going to be our secondary option because having two cards sometimes can be confusing, and it takes us a little bit of time to coach people on how to use primary and secondary. But we do have it. We can do guaranteed issue. So if you'll notice the prices, just the base plans themselves is at the top over here. And then, of course, the bundling, when we add these people are here. Guys, if you're young, these are conversations, these are the same price for everybody across the board. So whether you're 18 or whether you're 64, you have the exact same price. So sometimes that's going to work better for you. If you're younger, those are conversations we should probably have one-on-one to see, like, are these plans really the best for you? Because that's the other thing, is I'm a true healthcare consultant. So I'll be the very first one to tell you that, this isn't the best plan for you because of XYZ. And RESA has been very, positive towards me taking care of you as the member, and, not worrying as much about this plan specifically, but making sure that you have the best plan for you and your situation. There is no such thing as one size fits all, although the government wants us to believe that there is. Everybody's needs are very different. Like, my needs are very different than someone who is in their 30s still having babies. So we want to just make sure that we're kind of talking through that. That's kind of why we have the availability to talk to you more one-on-one if we need to. Here is kind of where that gap plan comes in. When we bring in this gap plan, it adds a secondary PPO called First Health, which gives you 2 PPO options, 2 networks. First Health is an Aetna PPO network. So if your doctor takes Aetna, then you can have if you have both plans, the primary and the secondary, you have that additional PPO network for the guaranteed issue plans. Now let's talk about the big one. This is major medical, no supplement needed. There are some medical questions. They're very high level. You'll probably know what to expect when you see them. But if we can get you these plans, if you qualify, they are really designated for you as the owner, but we can do what's called a list bill. It's not traditional group because we're using it as an association. So we already have built the big group on top. So what it's going to be is a list bill, being that your business, Tish's real estate or Tish's, staging company and my employees will be under a list bill where Tish's staging company is going to be the one that actually gets billed. So we have that ability, even though it's designed specifically for you, it's designed for that small business owner. Free wellness benefits. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I mean, I could go over lists, and again, we'll have all of this available to you after the seminar. We have a client personal health dashboard. I'm not getting into that, but you're going to have so much technology at your hands between being able to access your claims, being able to, look at explanation of benefits, access new cards. We are all very IT driven. And so not only do you have people to talk to, but you also have, technology to help you as well. We can start you. Okay, this is the big deal. You don't have to wait till open enrollment, y'all. It means that you are in open enrollment 24/7, 365, being a part of RESA. So if you are in the middle of, where you're at in the year, you hate your plan, you hate your access, you had to give up your doctors, it's time to talk, because we do not have to wait until open enrollment. Now, if you have to make a change after you're on the plan, then we do have to have what's called a special enrollment period. Marriage, divorce, death, I hate even talking about that one. New babies, that's even better. You moved out of state, all of those qualify as a special enrollment period if we need to make changes. So that's kind of how those plans work and the timing. All plans start at the 1st of the month, whether you want it on the 15th or not. It's nothing we can do. That's an insurance regulation and how this filed. But again, if we signed up today, we could have June 1, but we have to sign up by the 15th of each month. I'm sorry, by the 20th of each month for these plans to be effective the following month. And there are multiple plan designs. Run your own business, don't qualify for supplements. It says that client up to age 63, but we now go to age 64 and a half. And we get to keep your dependents up to age 26. A lot of off-market, non-ACA plans kick your kids off at 24 unless they're a full-time student. Although the law says they have to stay till 26, that law only applies to the ACA, Marketplace, Obamacare. Those all mean the exact same thing, guys. So because of that, well, that means that these plans, because they are ACA compliant, your 25-year-old 11 months can stay on the plan until their 26th birthday. And also the quality of coverage we get. Those underwriting questions that I keep referring to, heart attack, heart surgery, stroke, everything is in the past 5 years. Okay, guys. AIDS, HIV, blood diseases. If you've ever been if you've been incapacitated or incapable of taking care of yourself because of a medical condition in the past 5 years, again, these are knockout questions. If you are an organ failure, you've had an organ transplant, or you're getting dialysis, those are knockout questions. If you are pregnant already, we need you to have that baby. Okay, so that baby, because in the private sector, we can't move people when they're pregnant. So if you are pregnant, go have your baby, and then let's talk as soon as that baby's done, because again, that's an open enrollment period and get you off your other plan. If you've been hospitalized for the past 5 years, if you are still seeking treatment for that hospitalization, we have to wait until you're 5 years past that. Emphysema, chronic bronchitis, COPD, chronic pneumonia. This is the big one that I get a lot of questions on, back disorders. Okay. Back disorders does not mean you go to the chiropractor and you get yourself all, you get your maintenance stuff done. A back disorder is going to be if you have degenerative disc disease. It's also going to be muscular dystrophy, cerebral palsy. I never can in any way, shape, or form pronounce this word. So if you have it, you would know it. If you don't, then it doesn't matter. Compartment syndrome, sciatica. This is kind of a knockout, and osteoporosis. So if you got that, what I like to call the psychotic nerve, again, we need to talk and see if maybe the other plan is going to be better. Because I always want everyone to know that we always have something. There's no way, shape, or form that we can't find something for you if you need it. Substance abuse or substance dependency in the past 5 years is a knockout. Only type 1 diabetics are knockouts, not type 2. They're not. Type 2 is good. We're good to go. If you have surgery pending, okay, we have to wait until after that surgery is complete and you're through any therapy that's necessary and you're released from the doctor. If you have recently had surgery, you need to make sure you've gone through therapy and you've been released by the doctor, okay? Once you're past those things, then we can add you. So just because if you happen to answer yes today, doesn't mean that we can't, you can't answer no next month. So again, because we have open enrollment all year long, guys, it means that we can have that. You will get a copy of what this is. If you reach out to us directly, we will be more than happy to, talk through any of your particular situation to see if this is the best plan or we need to go to the guaranteed issue. Even it's guaranteed issue temporarily. In both cases, there are no waiting periods for pre-existing conditions, okay? On the guaranteed issue plan, we do need to talk about surgery, okay? Because that is one of the things we have to be very careful with in moving you if you have pending surgery. Blue Cross Blue Shield. We do have some lower cost plans that are still America's Choice that are full major medical, and they use PHCS or HealthSmart, and then that First Health is Aetna. Again, but I'm going to focus today on Blue Cross Blue Shield. Everybody knows Blue Cross Blue Shield. Everybody takes Blue Cross Blue Shield. If they don't take Blue Cross Blue Shield, 90% of the time they don't take insurance. All right, these plans, and I'm going to focus on the PPO plans. Telemedicine is free of charge, patient assistance program, pharmacy benefit managers, diabetes management, imaging, employee assistance program. People are like, I don't know what those words mean. I don't know why that matters to me. You always want to have a good pharmacy benefit manager because they're going to always make sure that if one doctor prescribes one thing and another doctor prescribes another, they don't conflict, and it kind of keeps you from getting into big trouble, from a health perspective if somebody's overprescribing or whatever. So pharmacy benefit managers are imperative. Employee assistance programs, if you start adding to your employees, this gives them ability to contact mental health professionals if they need it, if they're having challenges with, any kind of substance abuse. Those employee assistance programs are fantastic for those. Pre-certification case management, medical equipment services. You have sleep apnea machine. You need to, get your new tubes or whatever. That the plans do include those because if they are medically necessary, this plan cannot be a limited plan. So we have several different plan options. We have an annual max plans. Those are going to be your least cost plans. What is an annual max plan? It means that at $250,000, the plan cuts off. But they are the least expensive plans. They're running around $450 a month. Then they're $500,000. I think there's a difference about $25 to have a $500,000 plan. Cancer will eat that up very quickly. Okay. So I don't really focus on them, but if we're really trying to just do something and have something in the budget, something's better than nothing, right? So again, that's where we want to kind of talk through and make sure we're doing the right plan. But I'm going to focus on the metal plans. Metal plans, what does that mean? Whenever, one of the things that has been really imperative is that there was some consistency across all the carriers. And this came down from the government. So every gold plan has to have a certain co-insurance expense. Bronze has to match, copper has to match, silver has to match. What does that mean to you? It just means that your out-of-pocket expenses and your percentage of participation has to be consistent across those metals, no matter what the carrier is. So we're going to focus on those metal plans because those are going to be the best ones that you can compare to something you have elsewhere. You probably have either a silver plan or a gold plan. You might have a bronze plan. So when we're comparing things, at least you'll kind of know that back end part matches up. We also have a health savings plan. That's an HSA plan. What does that mean to you? It allows you to take money back or put money back pre-tax, or with no taxes charged. So you will have to help you get that set up. And I usually recommend a couple of banks, depending on where you're at, what's local to you. You'll set up a health savings account. You put money into that is tax-free. And as long as you use that money to qualified health expenses, then you never are taxed. You get like a credit card with it, and you're putting money in to use all of that towards health expenses. When you have an HSA or a health savings account plan, nothing is covered until you hit that deductible. That means you have to pay everything except for preventative care first before your plan is going to kick in. I don't focus on that because it's definitely something that we would want to talk about with your financial advisor. But in a lot of cases, that works out for a lot of people. We do have that option. That was something that has always been brought up to me. And I went far and wide to find the ability to give that to people, because mostly anytime someone has an HSA plan, they got it from their employer. So when we're talking about, you guys, we want to make sure that you can be competitive if you need to be, and I can show you how to do that. These annual max plans, these plans have no deductible. They still cover all your wellness. And then they have co-pays for doctors, etc. But once you hit 250,000, the plan's done for the year. Once you hit 500,000, the plan's done for the year, depending on where you got, where you are in the process. But again, affordability, these plans come in. I'm not focusing on those. I'll show you where you can focus through your portal in a moment, but those plans are there. This is what that 500, the annual max of 500,000 plan looks like. Here's the premiums. These are monthly. As you can see, there's no deductible. It has a max lifetime per year payment of $500,000, a lifetime of $2.5 million. You get 10 doctor's visits per year at $50. Emergency room, you get a couple of emergency room visits for $250 copay. Hospital stay of $1,000 copay, 10 days. Includes maternity. You can't be pregnant already though. And then it has, of course, prescriptions, and then mental health, occupational health, physical therapy, etc. Also has some co-payments, but it's limited for each type of therapy. So these are the limited plans that are available through America's Choice, but they are good plans, and they're, pricing for your family of $930 is a huge deal. Again, these are not my go-to, but when we're talking about costs and trying to get our costs under control, it doesn't matter how old you are, this is your pricing. So this will always be, something that we want to consider if we're looking at a budgetary issue, and we can kind of talk through. If you're super healthy, this plan is just fine for you. Because it'll cover you in case, God forbid, the worst thing. But if you're healthy and you just really need to make sure you are covered for the worst thing, these are the plans that we want to talk about. Metal plans. Okay, I have literally just took the bronze plan here. It is a $5,000 deductible. Here's your pricing. Our sweet spot is really from here to here, guys. Okay, that's our sweet spot. These are the copays. This is for the PHCS plan. This is not for the Blue Cross plans. But as you can see that you have that out-of-pocket max, and this says to age 62, we go to age 64 now. $25, $45, and $60 for your doctor visits. Everything else is co-insurance. People always ask me what co-insurance means. Co-insurance is you are responsible for the contracted amount, that when you get billed from a hospital, it says amount billed, and then it says insurance adjustment. Okay, that insurance adjustment is considered a contracted rate. So once we get that contracted rate, that's really the real price. So when we have a deductible and an out-of-pocket max, you are responsible for things that are going towards your deductible, which are usually hospitalization, emergency room, imaging, which is going to be CT scans and MRIs and such, and labs. You are responsible for 100% of the contracted rate up to your deductible. So in this case, to $5,000. But between your deductible and your out-of-pocket max, that amount is where you're responsible for 20% and the insurance company pays 80%. Once you hit this $7,350, however, and all of our plans have a max out of pocket of $7,350. No matter what deductible you get, that's our max out of pocket. Once you hit $7,350 on an individual or 14.7 for a family. So if you have a family 8, that's huge. Once you hit those out-of-pocket max, you pay zero. The plan pays 100%. So you pay 100% of the contracted rate before deductible. Between deductible and out-of-pocket max, you pay 20%, they pay 80%. And then after that out-of-pocket max, they pay 100%. So 100, 20, 100, 0. That's kind of how it all works out for you guys. This is, again, a very high level review. And I wanted to make sure you guys see the difference in prices and what we have available. All right, so now we're going to talk about Blue Cross. Woohoo! Here are the Blue Cross prices. As you'll notice, they're really age specific. So the younger folks get a little bit less. These are Blue Cross Blue Shield. They have the same type of copay that I showed you already, but I like to show everybody the prices because to me, that's what you care about most and foremost. And it's like, okay, if I can afford the price, now I can talk into the nitty gritty. And that's exactly what these plans are. As you can see that we have, the least expensive plan on a Blue Cross is $569.48. Now, if you're in this age category, depending on where you live, this may not be competitive. So that's where we want to talk about, is this the best plan for you? Because again, our sweet spot starts about, about age 40 all the way to 64 and a half. But we still have lots of other options that we can consider when you're younger, because we also want to take into account your family situation, where you're at. Do you need better access? Because again, like in Texas, you can't have a PPO from Blue Cross unless you are in this category. Again, these are the prices specifically for Blue Cross only. The way the pricing is set, and I really want to make sure I emphasize this, these are calendar year costs, just as if you were buying something of the marketplace, ACA, everyone restarts a new price, new deductible January 1. These work the exact same way. No matter what time of year you come in, that's when your deductible starts, that's when your out-of-pocket starts. And then in January, everything resets. Pricing in the past has been adjusted by about 5% each year from an increase standpoint. That's less than the 20 to 25% increase you see on the marketplace. So that's also, like maybe today it doesn't work, but next year your insurance goes up. Again, it's time for us to visit this. These are guaranteed renewable until you go to Medicare age, which means that if you get on this plan and you're happy with it, you don't ever have to do an open enrollment again until you have to go to Medicare. So I love that piece is like, if you're in the middle of cancer treatment, God forbid, and if you were on a marketplace plan, your doctors may not contract next year, because that happens a lot of times these days, because doctors do not want to be on marketplace plans because they don't get paid very well. But if you're in the middle of cancer treatment, the last thing you want to do is have to change your providers in the middle of that. You won't have this issue with a Blue Cross Federal PPO plan, because once they get a contract with the feds, they don't want to get away from it because it's guaranteed business. I mean, how many of us know government employees? We all have state reps and, and those guys, right? So, we want to have the same benefit levels as they do. All right, so we have an enrollment link here in the platform. This will be behind the scenes. Once you log into your RESA portal, it will then be there where that's the only place you can access this information. But there is a link that I'm not going to, focus on this much, but this is kind of what it looks like. But when you land on the page, you're going to want to make sure you focus on the ones that say Blue Cross Blue Shield. They'll say BCBS. These are the overview plans. The BCBS plans say Blue Cross Blue Shield, and those are the ones that we want to really focus on. But this is what the actual enrollment platform looks like. You'll be able to click on info. You'll get all the info. You can download summary plan documents. Guys, I'm happy to send that to you. You just have to shoot me a quick email, send me your information. You can download the full brochures. You can get your specific cost. And then I always like to help everybody enroll, so that way you know what you're doing. But guys, if you want to enroll directly, I'm happy to do that as well. It's whatever is best for you. But this is a dedicated site for RESA and RESA only. So please don't share it if you happen to get into it, because it belongs to RESA. So here are a few states that we cannot work in: California, New Hampshire, Oregon, Vermont, and Washington. All the rest are islands, guys. So those states, we can do the other plan, but the insurance regulations for those states are really tough. So the Blue Cross PPO has requested not to be a part of it. West Coast specifically because of Kaiser. So if you're on the West Coast, one of those 3 states, Kaiser is really going to be your best bet just because that's who you really need. That's really all you can go see. Here's my contact information. This is my office phone number, my email, my website. If you want to check me out to make sure I'm legit, that's my stuff. And I will open it up for questions, but I'm going to let someone else drive those. I hope that I gave you enough information. I am an educator. First and foremost, there's a lot of words in my industry that they've made it so difficult for the regular human being to be able to understand what they're asking for. So hopefully I didn't over describe, but for me, it's important to kind of really understand the words so you know what you're buying, no matter if you are with me or with someone else. So thanks so much for your time. And Shell, it's back to you.
Great. This was awesome, Tish. And actually, I was thinking to myself that you do explain very well about what everything is, because let's face it, insurance can be frustrating and very confusing. And what I liked about when we first met is that, you know, you guys, Tish is always there for you. If you've got a question, you're going to reach out. Someone from either her directly or her team member is going to get back in touch with you and explain it so you can understand it.
Yes.
So it's really good. And I'm super excited to be able to do this. I mean, you know, for the self-employed had so many problems getting health insurance, you know, it was just cost prohibitive. Nobody could ever afford it. And it always baffled me. And then when they tried to get it passed through Congress, it was like 6 months before we started RESA. And I just remember going, darn, had I been here, I could have argued in front of Congress and made it happen for the world. It like failed by 2 votes. So a few years back when they started doing this, I was like, thank goodness they're doing it, because this is actually a really good benefit for the American people to be able to enjoy those same benefits as if you worked for IBM, you know.
Yeah. The other thing that I didn't bring up is these are fully tax deductible to you as an employer. So it becomes a tax benefit. It's considered what's called a fringe benefit, and it's 100% tax deductible to you as an employer.
Yeah.
Even if you're your own employer, whether you have an LLC or you're just 1099s, however you have your structure, it is still 100% tax deductible to you.
That's awesome. And everybody, if you have employees, you have your W-2 employees, you will be able to add them onto this policy.
Yes, ma'am.
You'd be able, or should I say, offer it to them. And
Yes,
then you work it out with them, whether you pay a portion of their premium or all of it. That's, you know, your own internal thing. I'm sure, Tish, you've probably got opinions on that, best practices and whatnot, if people had questions about that.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, if you have employees, you know, let's talk about what's the best design platform for you. It may just be that you can't afford to help, but you want to offer it. That's okay. We can do that. Or maybe you can only say that I can only afford $100 a month. Well, that's okay. You know, I can help you get those, you know, those benefits designed, and maybe we kind of step you into it. A lot of times people think they have to just jump off and bite the big one and do 50%. That's for groups that are 50 or more. For us small guys, you know, I've run my own business for a very long time. And what we want to do is make sure that you, from a benefit perspective, are able to actually provide a true benefit. So I can help you do those designs. I can keep you out of any kind of, you know, HR nightmare, but we can definitely figure out the best way for you to, you know, be a good competitor in trying to recruit people as well.
Yep, I love it. So we'll open it up if you have any questions. I'm going to go back to my screen for a moment while we're doing that. So if you do have questions, please drop them into the chat or the Q&A box. So again, I just want to thank you, Tish, for doing this. We really appreciate you. We've got a QR code here for RESA members with an active membership. You can actually scan this now and be taken straight to the RESA website. And then Joanna, I'm assuming, has this been put into Mora yet, Joanna?
Yes, it's there. So this will take you to the public page and has some more information with the link where you can log in.
Beautiful.
And get the link that Tish has for us all set up all nice.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. And then we're also going to have this video available as well. So we'll keep that up on there. And of course, if you have any questions in the meantime, go to the page on our website. You'll be able to reach out to Tish directly so she can explain all of this to you. I don't see any questions coming in. I want to make sure I'm looking at everything. Don't see anything. You did such a great job at everything. So I will skip on to this slide. RESACon Vegas 2024. The clock is a tick-tocking along. So if you were on the fence about attending RESACon, go ahead and jump off that fence and get your ticket today. Prices do go up in July, so you want to get the best price that you can is available right now for you. That's going to probably wrap it up for us. So again, it's Tish Zitzow. Here's her information here, and I am Shell. And we're just going to let this sit here for a minute in case anybody's jotting it down. And until next time, everybody, thank you for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Tish.